In the temple schools of ancient Sumer, there was a question the scribes were forbidden to ask. It was not forbidden because anyone had ever answered it. It was forbidden because the answer was thought to be impossible. To ask it was to commit a specific theological offense. The Sumerians had a word for it: nig-gig, the thing that is not done. The question was simple. Who came before Alulim? Alulim of Eridu, in Sumerian theology, was not just the first king, he was the first being to whom kingship had ever been given. According to the Sumerian king list, kingship descended from heaven and landed at Eridu, and it landed in the hand of Alulim. And before that moment, there were no rulers, no cities, no human history at all. To ask what came before Alulim was, in Sumerian thought, the same as asking what came before the first morning. There was no before. To insist that there was, to suggest that some king or figure had existed in that imaginary time, was sacrilege so absolute that the priests of Eridu could refuse a scribe his instruction for life. For 4,500 years, no one answered the question. In a vault at the British Museum, a cylinder seal recently rolled out for the first time has now answered it. To understand why the question was forbidden, you have to understand how the Sumerians thought about time. Sumerian theology was built around a single foundational concept, called the me. The me, pronounced mer, were the divine ordinances, the rules, the decrees. Every institution of civilization in the Sumerian view existed because a specific me had been issued from heaven and bound into reality by the gods. There was a me of kingship, a me of priesthood, a me of the plough, a me of the loom. The Sumerian myth Inanna and Enki, preserved on tablets recovered from the city of Uruk, lists more than 100 of them. Each me defines a piece of the world that did not exist until the gods spoke it into being. There was no me for the time before the me. In Sumerian theology, this was not an oversight. It was the central organizing claim. Reality, as the Sumerians understood it, began the moment the first divine ordinance was lowered. Before that moment, the texts insist there was nothing, and importantly, the texts insist that the nothing had no contents. No proto-humans, no earlier rulers, no half-formed gods. The Eridu Genesis, the oldest surviving Sumerian creation narrative, recovered on a single fragmentary tablet held in the Penn Museum in Philadelphia, makes this explicit. The opening lines, in the standard translation, read, "In those days there was no man, no priest, no king, no judge. There was only the silence of An." That phrase, ubida in those days, is the Sumerian shorthand for the time before time. The priests used it specifically to seal the question shut. In those days was understood to be a sentence with no possible second clause. To attempt to write a second clause, to describe what happened in those days, who lived in those days, who ruled in those days, was the theological violation the Sumerians called nig-gig. It was, the texts say, the only sin Enki himself was said to be unable to forgive. This is the question the cylinder at the British Museum has answered. The cylinder is small, approximately 3 centimeters tall, carved from black serpentine sourced most likely from the eastern mountains of what is now Iran. It was recovered from a sealed subchamber beneath the floor of the Eninnu temple at Girsu, the religious capital of the ancient Sumerian city-state of Lagash, during the British Museum's ongoing excavation under the direction of Sebastian Ray. The cylinder had been placed inside a clay envelope, stamped with the official seal of the city, and buried beneath the stone of the holiest room in the holiest temple of the kingdom. It had not been disturbed since the 3rd millennium BC. When the seal was rolled across a fresh strip of clay for the first time, the impression revealed 2 names, stacked vertically in the upper register, where a Sumerian dynasty would normally be inscribed. The lower name was the most familiar in all of Sumerian history. Alulim, Lugal Eridu. Alulim, king of Eridu. The first king to whom kingship had ever been given. The upper name was not Sumerian in any standard form. The signs themselves were Sumerian, but they were written in the archaic proto-cuneiform of the late 4th millennium BC, a script older than the standardized cuneiform scribes were trained to use during Alulim's traditional reign. The name reads, in transliteration, Igigi-zi, roughly the watcher who lives, and above his name, where the standard Sumerian formula for the institution of kingship would normally appear, Nam-lugal anta ede, kingship descended from heaven. The inscription reads instead, in unmistakable signs, Nam-lugal anta nu ede. Kingship had not yet descended from heaven. This part has been discussed in the academic note. What has not been discussed is the iconography on the lower register. In a standard Sumerian presentation scene, the convention is rigid. A seated god receives a worshipper. The god is larger. The god holds the rod and ring symbol of authority. The worshipper approaches, hands clasped, head slightly bowed, in the posture the Sumerians called shu-illah, the lifted hand prayer. On the cylinder from Girsu, the convention is reversed. The seated figure, bearded, holding the rod and ring, indistinguishable in scale and posture from the god in any other Sumerian seal of the period, is the one with the head slightly bowed. The standing figure in front of him is taller. He holds an object the British Museum epigraphers have described, in their internal note, as not appearing in any other extant Sumerian visual corpus. And it is to this standing figure, not the seated one, that the inscription assigns the upper name. Igigi-zi is not depicted as a worshipper of the gods. He is depicted as the one the gods themselves were depicted bowing to. Sumerian theology offered 3 explanations for why the question of pre-Alulim time was forbidden, and all 3 of them are present on the same cylinder. The first, found in the Eridu Genesis and reinforced in the Atrahasis epic, was that the time before the Igigi-zi was theologically equivalent to chaos. Kur, the formless, the unbound. To ask who lived in that time was by definition to claim that ordered being had existed before the gods imposed order, which would mean the gods had not, in fact, created order, which would mean the gods were not gods. The forbidden question was forbidden because the answer would have unmade the structure of divinity itself. The second, found in the Eninnu and Enki dialogue, was procedural. The me of kingship was, in Sumerian theology, a specific object. A set of tablets that the goddess Eninnu stole from Enki, drunk and carried away to Uruk in a ceremonial barge. Before that act, kingship existed in heaven as a divine possession, but not on earth as a human institution. To ask who ruled before Alulim was to ask whether Eninnu had actually stolen anything, whether kingship had always been on earth, in some other form, in some other hand, which would have meant the founding myth of the Sumerian state was a cover story. The third explanation was the one the priests of Eridu kept for themselves. It is preserved in only one surviving text, a fragment in the Bit Messeri ritual corpus, recovered from Sippar in the 1880s, and it states the prohibition in a single sentence. Do not ask after the watcher, he is not gone, he is only beneath. Igigi-zi means the watcher who lives. What the cylinder appears to confirm, what the bowed seated god and the reversed kingship formula and the upper register name all point toward, is that Sumerian theology forbid the question of pre-Alulim time not because the answer was unknowable, but because the answer was specifically the one thing the entire structure of Sumerian religion had been built to contain. There was someone before Alulim. He was not a king in the institutional sense because the institution of kingship had not yet been lowered from heaven. He was something the gods themselves treated as the elder authority, and he was, the priests insisted, still present, buried, sealed, watching from beneath the foundations of the world the me had built on top of him. The temple at the city of Eridu, the city Alulim was given to rule, was, archaeologists have known since the 1940s, built directly on top of an older structure. Layer 17 of the Eridu temple sequence, the very deepest, has never been fully excavated. The Iraqi antiquities authorities have not granted permission to dig below it. So who came before Alulim? Maybe Igigi-zi is a scribal joke, an Apkallu honorific written in archaic signs to look like a name. Maybe the reversed iconography on the Girsu cylinder is craftsmanship error rather than theological statement. Maybe the Bit Messeri fragment is corrupted, its single legible line a misreading. Maybe the deepest layer of the Eridu temple is just unexcavated rather than deliberately undisturbed. Maybe the Sumerian taboo on the question of pre-kingship time was not theological at all, but simply intellectual, a culture's refusal to speculate about what it could not know. But Sumerian theology was the most carefully constructed religious system of the ancient Near East. The Sumerians did not write down what they did not consider important. They did not name what they did not consider real. And the priests of Eridu, the men who tended the cult of Alulim, the first king in the city where kingship first descended, kept a single sentence in their ritual archive for 2,000 years. Do not ask after the watcher. He is not gone, he is only beneath. The cylinder has now answered the question they refused to be asked. The watcher had a name, he was given a title the institutional Sumerian language did not have a word for. And the gods themselves, in the iconography of the seal that names him, are depicted in a posture of deference no Sumerian artist had ever drawn before. Subscribe. Because in the next episode, we open layer 17 at Eridu. We translate the rest of the Beit Meseri ritual, and we examine what the priests of the first city kept buried beneath the foundations of the first temple, in the place the Sumerian language itself was built to make impossible to describe. The question has been answered. The watcher has a name, and the floor of Eridu has not yet been lifted.